She's one in a million. She's pretty darn near impossible. She still says I love you, and that makes me feel frisky. I says that you were the whiskey talking. She says it's me talking to the whiskey. She's off a rock, but I'm not getting down off mine, no. She'll knock my socks off, but then my feet get cold. She says you never listen to me. It's like you got cotton in your ears. I say, yeah, babe, that sounds great. I think I will have another beer. Thank you. Oh, we're still in love. She's still in love. He's still in love. We're still in love 3-4 days a week. She's a bombshell, complete with the show views. I must be a liquor cabinet. I get a lot of booze. She says with the new glasses, I don't think I'm too attracted to you. I said, I don't wear no glasses. She says, I know, but I do. We're still in love. Me still in love. She's still in love. My sugar just make me weak, make me fat, right in my teeth, the right of my head won't let me sleep. Okay, that's enough. Oh, talk about romance, and we're often cheek to cheek. We don't go dancing, I'm talking about when we sleep. She's the cat's pajamas, she's the cat's meow. She's my tiger mama, and I'm her scratching post. No, we're still in love. He's still in love, I know. She's still in love, she sells it anyway. We're still in love, 3-4 days a week. Oh yeah, we're still in love. We're still in love, here we are. Me still in love, I am. We're still in love, 3-4 days a week.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio, everyone. We're Lisa and Nancy, and you just heard or watched, depending on how you're accessing our podcast, 3 or 4 days a week. It's from the acoustic musical murder mystery novel, or you could say a folk opera. It's called Chosen, and it's by Central Florida musician Brian-Smalley. It is produced by Gatorbone Records, and you can go to Brian's website. It's briansmalley.com. It's SMALLEY. And you can also keep up with on Facebook. He's got a whole bunch of videos there, also on YouTube. But welcome, Brian. How are you doing?
Hey, great, Lisa. Nancy, it's good to see y'all. I feel like I know you already, but now it's nice to get to talk. Yeah.
Well, it's taken us 6-7 months to get this to happen as our travels, and it's taken a while, but it's so funny because your last name, do you know, Nancy and I used to jam with a guy, Ken Smalley, up in San Diego, up in the mountains.
Is that
and
right?
I was like, is this Ken's brother? I don't know if you're related to a Kenny, but
well, I pronounce it Smalley.
Smalley, okay, his is Smalley.
Put the small in the Smalley, yeah.
Okay,
right?
well,
yeah,
I'll do it right next
Smalley.
time.
That's good. It's all
Everybody,
good.
it's Smalley.
You can call me anything you want to. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay, no. We're all
Hey.
good. We're all good. But listen, Chosen, Nancy, I've been listening to it. It is really cool.
Awesome.
What you've done. I can only imagine the amount of work and the quality of the talent, the vocals, the musicianship. the storyline. Let's just start from the beginning.
Oh, thanks.
Where did this
Well,
start in your brain? Like,
well, it started because I lived in Belgrade, Florida, and what Chosen is the sister city of Belgrade, and Belgrade's is a agricultural town. It's a sugarcane metropolis, if you will, down there on the banks of Lake Okeechobee, which is a giant lake.
Yeah.
It's huge, but it's mostly dead, and they're trying to bring it back to life. But good luck with that. But I lived there in the '70s when my old man retired out of the service. We moved to Belgrade, Florida, because I had an aunt who lived there, and I spent actually days, my summer, working in the sugarcane fields as a field inspector, and
No way.
I made great money for a 16-year-old kid, and I bought my guitars, my first guitars, with the money that I made from sugarcane. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship with sugarcane, but that's how it started, because I spent a good 4.5 years of my teenage years, all my teenage years basically, in Belgrade, Florida. So that all these seeds started getting sown way back then, way back then.
I was going to think, because sugarcane was, prolific in Kenya, where we lived, in South Africa.
Right.
And as kids, at one point, we lived on a farm. There was oranges, strawberries, cabbage, and sugarcane fields. And as kids, we knew how to go in there and hack it. And you'd even, I know the dentist loves me, because I even knew how to cut it off with your teeth. There's a way of peeling the sugar cane back, and then you chew and spit, and it was beautiful. It looked disgusting to everybody else, but there's like a whole other thing. But I don't know how many people realize that sugarcane, you think of Florida, you think of oranges, right?
Right.
But sugarcane, that's got to be kind of draining on the water in a way.
Oh yeah, well they're
kind of swampy.
Right. Well, they replumbed the state in order to get the sugarcane industry up and running, because they couldn't get it to go in South Florida until they figured out how to dredge all that water out, and basically wrecked the state in the process. So long story short, South Florida is not what it should be. It got wrecked, and it's because of the sugarcane industry that happened. So.
Cutting the Cane is the first track of the album. It's the album, the play. I want to see you guys do this as a play, an actual
one day.
play.
Yeah, me too.
Nancy's always saying to musicians, "Oh, you got to do a rock opera," and she's like, "Okay, I finally got it. It's more folk than it is a rock opera," but like she's all excited. But
it's close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a new genre, and kudos for going out there and doing it. Come on.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Nancy. That's sweet. I had a blast doing it. It was a good 5-year process from start to finish to get it finally recorded. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to get everyone get everyone together to do this. So I want to go back to Cutting the Cane, but tell us about everybody that's involved.
Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. It's a list as long as my arm at this point. Well, first of all, it never would have happened without some friends of mine that are basically my benefactors. Not only are they great friends, but they put up the money to make this happen. Suze Grandy and Tom Welch.
We like them.
Yeah, they're amazing. And
like
they have been very, very good to me, if you know what I'm saying, because this wouldn't have happened otherwise. And so Liz and Lon Williamson have this recording studio up in Keystone Heights, Florida, and they've just produced the most amazing music. And they came up in a conversation one day, and we were like, why don't we take it to their studio and do this? So they co-produced this with me, and we basically had carte blanche, if you will. In other words, this wasn't somebody saying, this is how it's got to be, and this is what it should be about. It was a story. I brought it in, and they were able to reach out and find these incredible musicians that I would have never been able to talk into being on the album, but somehow they were. And so, yes, people like Grant Peoples, Tony Macaluso, Sam Bassetti, Marianne Lurbs, and I'm going to leave people out, and it's a crime, but it goes on and on and on. It just incredible musicians that helped out.
That's so cool.
Because the work on this kind of thing, because it's quality, it's pure quality, and I love how it shifts and changes. It's kind of Americana, but it's I don't want to put a finger on it, because people, you can listen to it 10 times and hear something new each time, which I think is really neat. And I think what's neat too is everybody's in the single mode. And it's like, screw that. Right. We're doing like a full-on story,
dude. Whole thing. Like, that's right. Yeah, this is right. Well, I tell you what, Lisa, I purposely went into this project wanting to pardon the word, bastardize music. In other words, in Belgrade, you have several cultures colliding. You have, the white settlers who have been there for generations, I guess, but you have Cuban people living there. You have Haitian people that were brought in to harvest the cane, what we called, when we lived down there, we called them H2s, and it was criminal the way they were treated. Wow. It was just criminal. But you have these cultures colliding, so I wanted the music to collide. So what you have is this bizarre combination of like Americana fiddle, like what you're talking about, mixed with a Haitian troubadour, mixed with a Cuban son montuno, and then on top of that, it just bizarre experimental music that just follows no rules. And so it's this hodgepodge and no rules. It's
sounds
no holds barred
to me. Sounds American.
Yes, right. There it is. That's how I see it too. Exactly.
Because Americana, when you say that word, people sort of go into, oh, well, here's a banjo, or here's a guitar, or here's bluegrass.
Right.
And that really represents one tiny fraction of America. But what you're doing is you're like, oh, let's just get real.
It's include everybody, because America is a story about everyone who comes here, right? Amen. Amen.
Exactly.
Yes.
And listen, hey, you
so glad you get that.
The banjo, and I mean, we're only now having this discussion of bluegrass and banjo music coming from Africa, which is where Nancy and I live for a majority of. Well, I don't know a majority anymore. We're getting older, but it's true. And if you look at the African instruments and the tinka tinka tinka, that's that's what my guitar playing sounds like. Tinka tinka tinka. It's like, where's that other note? I don't know.
Sometimes me too.
It's just that, but it's really fascinating to me, because to me Cuban music is and Haitian, I mean, all of it to me, when you can put it together, that's exciting, and it shows a true spirit of what America really is about. We are a melting pot.
Yes, right.
And that means we have good food and good music.
Yeah.
And we should be proud of it. But I want to go back to the very first track and talking about cutting cane. And and by the way, the songs on here, they stick with you. And this it was one of the ones that really kind of grasped onto me. And at the same time, when people listen to it, they may go, what the hell did he just sing? Like, what was that? And it's not, and there's you, and then there's someone else singing with a really deep voice in there.
Yeah, Grant.
Deep voice. Yeah. With that, you're talking about they're not, basically they're not slaves, and you're talking about the Haitian people, but you're also talking about they're happy, which a lot of people will turn around and say, what did you just say? Like, why would you say they're happy?
So I've lost your audio, Lisa.
Oh, I'm coming back. It's called.
There it is. There it is.
Listen, all right. So let me say that.
Just repeat that one more time.
We are in a storm here in the Florida woods, in the Panhandle. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, you're talking about the Haitians working out in the fields, not being, basically not shackled like a slave, but happy. But you're saying they weren't treated well. But when you first hear it, when you first hear it. The album, this is the very beginning of I'm going to call it the radio play, the musical. Your people are going to go like, what do you mean they were happy at that point?
Right. Well, that's a character. That's a character. Grant Peoples totally grabbed this character. In my opinion, he's an evil person. His name's Jabez Brown, Jabe. And he's that mule-headed redneck that lived down there in the 70s. And he had his own concept of reality. And I think that concept prevails to this day. I know plenty of people who still hold on to these backwards
Yeah.
way of thinking. But yeah, it's kind of in your face. Here's his opinion of what was happening. But as you realize, you go through the story, you realize that's not the case. These people were living in poverty and they were being taken advantage of. So yeah, we do some raw things in this music. But that's life. That's how
But
life is.
I like that you're straight up about it. You know, having lived in Kenya and then South Africa,
Mm,
especially, we totally understand when you look at what's happened to certain people over time, taken into slavery, and then, oh, well, okay, now we're going to let you be educated. For a long time in this country, it was against the law to let a Black person who was a slave be educated. It was
hmm.
also against the law to let a woman be educated at one point.
That's right.
So we understand the history of that and how long, we're still not done, how long it has taken to get the point across that it's better to embrace each other than
Yeah.
to be so insecure and afraid of each other.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, this whole
Fears everything. Yeah.
slavery thing came from, okay, let's make money and
That's
let's
right.
pretend they're not really people when we already really know that they are.
Hmm.
And seriously,
Yeah.
it's about time we were done with this.
Yeah. It's long past time.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a big pushback, and we still have pushback today. Critical race theory is being
yeah,
they're pushing back on that really hard. We need to open up our
yeah,
minds and look at this
yeah.
literature. It's a tome of literature that
Mhm.
you could wade through your entire life and not read it all. We at least need to, as a nation, look at this with wide open
Yes.
eyes, what's really happened. So that with this musical piece, I really go out of my way not to make a moral judgment. I really try
Mm,
to paint a picture. But
yeah.
I believe in my heart
Mm,
that I believe what was right and what was wrong. But in the
mm.
music, I try to back away from that because I really just wanted to make a clear picture. I didn't
Yeah.
really, yeah,
And
I didn't.
you
Yeah,
do,
I
because
appreciate
when you
that.
listen to it, you are transported somewhere. And I remember
Mhm.
reading somewhere, I don't know if it was a press release or whatever, it's best listened to with a headset, and it's really true. And
Yeah,
just chill out. I mean, that number one, we need to all like just get back to those old school days where we'd all like listen to
yeah,
music. And I think that's
Yeah.
another huge thing you've done with this is you've got us to actually sit down and like, oh, it's not the one hit wonder single. Like let's have
right.
10 one hit wonders, under our belt. Like that's
Right.
where the direction is. And I get it. And I mean, I get the way the industry is working, but I love it when someone says, can we just settle down and actually
Right.
enjoy
Do the real
something that's
thing.
Yeah.
art?
Yeah,
And
this yeah,
you've
this
definitely
goes
created that.
yeah, thank you. This goes the other direction. This
Hmm.
actually
Yeah.
is demanding on the listener. This actually asks you to work, and you don't have to get into the story. It's not a prerequisite. First and foremost, this is a guitar album.
It's a beautiful.
Mm.
It's music, but for
Yes.
those who want more, there's something there. And so it's
Hmm.
Mhm.
multi-layered, there's many aspects to this. And whoops, I pulled my earphones out, but my
It wasn't
producer
our internet
and
this time.
engineer, Lon Williamson, he turned this into audio candy. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
saying? It just became, it's just this. You put the headphones, and you're like, oh, this is so fun. It just reminds me of the 70s when I would kick back with my
Yeah.
headphones on and listen to like a Yes album or an
Mhm.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer album, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny when you bring that. That's like two complete opposites in a way, but it's not, because when you think about layers, that's what that kind of music is, always full of layers, right? It's
Yeah.
Mhm.
just
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
two different styles. But I think it is important that we listen And at this point too, what's great is we have a listening audience compared to, in a way, like I miss the old school days of music. However, when it comes to books, people are listening to audiobooks and they are eating it like candy. Like that is the new thing more than actual paper books,
Yeah.
you know? So I think in a way you've hit that part as well.
Right.
Or you're creating this whole audio thing. I know even with podcasts, like the NPR did this whole thing once about the top podcasts are people that are playing music in between little nuggets of words. It's the music part that is making the podcast work. And of course, now we've done completely a different thing, but that's you know, but that I think that's what's interesting with Chosen is that you're crossing those boundaries, and that's what Big Blend is about. We're all like, we should be
Yes, you
all like,
are.
get over it.
Yeah.
Even though we're changing up into different magazines, it's still the Big Blend concept. You'll see
That's right.
travel in the food
Mhm.
section. You'll find music in the history section
It's
because
the variety is the spice of life, right?
thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well done. That's
Exactly.
you got
Yeah,
it. Yep.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, on
I can-
purpose, today I set it up in front of my little bookshelf here because I have musical heroes. I do. I love the great guitar players. You know, that's a world for me. But my number one heroes have always been the authors. You know, Faulkner and Zora
Yeah.
Neale Hurston and Hemingway and all
Yeah.
and Dostoevsky. You know, my favorite. Those are my big heroes. So it's natural for me to try to cram those two together, you know, that the novel and the music kind of comes together. So that's where the term acoustic novel comes from, because it's music and it's also a novel, so, you know. So
I love it. I do. I totally love it because that's my kind of, just one more step. Let's put it as a play on film, as a, like, it needs to be a movie.
I agree. Yeah, we got to put it on. We got to put it on
Yeah.
on the stage at least. Yeah, or a film. That would be
Yeah, if
one
you could
day.
film the stage,
One
right?
day.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, you got to call Miranda there, man. He's got to get him on this. But it's, I
Oh.
think, yeah.
Well, you know, because so many people.
No, we can hear you, Nancy.
Sorry. So many people are visual first,
Mm-hmm.
and then they hear. Other people are auditory, they hear first, then see. You know, some of
that's
us
true.
can see at the same time as hearing, but everybody's different. So I think when you have something great like what you have, it should go as many genres and as widespread as possible.
That's so nice of you to say. I appreciate that. I have a varied taste. You know, if you come see a live show, I'm going to play you music from every genre. I love it all, and it's funny because I don't really see it as different genres. To me, it's all just coming out of the guitar. You know, but style, yeah, I guess you're right, but it's not processing that way in my head.
No,
it's all music.
I get that. As a painter, I really. Well, oh, you're a wildlife artist. No, not actually. That's just what I painted today. But you're this artist, or you're that artist. No, just can we leave out the categories? But apparently, I think it's Amazon's fault.
Yeah, it's called
Good
marketing.
Point. Everything's
well, yeah,
Amazon's
even
fault,
for me.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, musically, what I would write would be like a prog rock with blues, but I can sing the blues, but I was limited because of guitar. But it was like I could hear this orchestra going off, and there's absolutely no way you could ever pinpoint any of it, and I really don't care about it. I just don't care about having to be. I think that's why we're probably all the same people that got in trouble in school and said no, you know. And when I went to school, I had to wear a uniform, and that didn't work very well for me.
I'm sitting right here, Lisa.
I know, but I do want to talk about the artwork.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, it's like, no, I will not roll my socks this way. I will not do, no, I will tear my sweater. I will throw the hat under the bus. It did not work, but the artwork too. You've got your cover, but there's the CD itself. Now, am I right? Is that, to me, looks like plots of land to me. That looks like if you go aerial.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Right,
there it is.
right. That's exactly it. And there's something hidden in there. You have to peek, you have to really cross your eyes a little bit to see the hidden image. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a
It's a
aerial
maze.
view. It's an aerial view of a sugarcane metropolis, basically. If you go on Google Earth and hover over Belgrade and zoom out, it's hundreds of square miles of that,
You
and
could you could make a maze out of that.
You should
oh,
make
big
a
Like,
time.
jigsaw puzzle of it,
yeah,
Nancy.
Yeah,
We
that'd
need
be
to,
so much fun.
we'll do
Get
that.
yourself
Let's
out
do
of the
that.
sugar cane.
Yeah,
yeah,
really, it's
right.
a
Yeah,
sugarcane
get out.
maze.
Yeah, right.
But they
Yeah,
call
I
it,
love
you
it.
know, it's interesting because I got all into Belglade now. And so now we're going to have to do that when we go to Lake Worth, Nancy, this year. We're going to have to go to Belglade. They have,
Oh my.
we're going, we're going to go check it out. We have to.
Yes.
We have to go,
All
but
right,
they
all
call it
right.
on the internet. I was looking up, they call it Muck City, and everybody, that's with
Yeah,
an
Yeah.
M as
What?
in manual. Just so
Muck
I don't get,
City. Yes, yeah,
nobody,
yeah, yeah.
don't,
Right.
don't,
Don't get that
don't
confused.
send me
Yeah,
those emails you've already
Muck
heard of
City.
anyway.
It's.
But that's because of all the
No,
mud.
it's a site. I was just yeah, wait, it's a special kind of dirt. It's not really a dirt, so to speak. It's more of a peat. That's why it's the agricultural center
Hotbed.
that it is. Because there was an old saying when I lived there. You had to teach the chickens how to catch the corn that you tossed at them, because if it touched the ground, it would just grow into a plant. It's so
Oh,
fertile,
wow.
It just
Huh.
an exaggeration, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's
it's cool.
because of the dirt. It's because of the soil that it became such a sugarcane king. But I tell you, it's an eye opener. I was just recently back there, not even it was just a couple months ago. I went back, and I try to go back on a regular basis because that was my home. And I always go, oh, I'm so looking forward to this, but something always dark and heavy weighs on me when I'm there, and I don't want to disparage the people of Belglade. I love my people, and I am Belglade. It's not me saying boo on y'all. It's me saying, let me expose a little more of myself, because Belglade's a big part of me. And I don't think I've even cracked the whole nut on what that means. So that's what this was. This was a journey more for me than for anything. As you know from the story, there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people need to listen,
Yeah.
and I don't want to, like, it's like when you sit there and take a song, like, everybody, what does this mean? What did this word mean? Eventually it ruins it for the listener. So I want people to have that journey with it. But for you traveled around a
Yeah,
lot through
right.
your life, right? You as a military brat, right? So you
Yeah.
did a lot of travel. Did
Yeah.
that influence your music?
Oh,
And
heavily, yeah, heavily, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the reason I am a musician, I think, because after a while, we moved once a year, sometimes 3 times a year, because because my old man would just get restationed. They'd just say, okay, up you go, and we'd be off, California, we up in Georgia, name it, we were everywhere. You guys were just recently in Tucson, right? Or you were talking to somebody?
yeah, we have a storage unit there. We lived there for a
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, yeah. That's where I was born. Yeah, that was,
Oh,
because
right on.
we were there 3 months, so I know
Yeah.
nothing about Tucson. But
But
I
it's
was
a
like,
big
hey,
airplane area. It's like they have the boneyards, and that's a big, that's a
they're
big
in
military
Tucson.
town.
People tell me I was born there. I don't really
They got good
remember. Yeah.
music. Hey, Linda Ronstadt comes from there.
That's
So
right. That's right.
it's
Bar Reed and
important.
all that. Yeah, right. But yes, being moved around constantly just made me withdraw until all I really cared about was just playing the guitar. And so that's really, I think that was the single most important influence on me being a musician, was the moving. Yeah.
Oh,
See,
Yeah.
I did that to Lisa. I mean, she went to 16 different schools.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. That sounds right. Yeah.
hey, I
yeah.
did Macbeth in like half of them. So it was
So,
great. I could just do the same paper over and over again.
in my defense, I believe that travel is really the educator.
It is. It's the educator, and it's also what makes
my
you.
horse in a bar.
Yeah,
The
my
things
horse
she
in a bar, the
turned in
paper.
at the
Yeah.
end of every school term.
Yeah, it's the travel is the educator, because
Yeah.
it demands
Awesome.
a lot out of you, and it kicks your ass, and it'll make or break you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's true. And I think it does a
Yes.
little of both. I think it does a little of
Mhm.
both. Part of you makes it through, another part of you never really recovers. So
Yeah.
you trade one thing for another,
that's why you
and
have music.
that's the story of life. You can't have it all. Yes, exactly,
You gotta have
exactly.
music.
So,
Yeah.
my wife, she's always saying things like, if it weren't for that, you wouldn't be doing this. It was meant to be. And I guess I have to counter that. I have to kind of eventually accept that.
Yeah.
People always say, I have no regrets. I'm like, I got plenty of regrets, but that's me, maybe not your story. But no, moving around, you see the grand variety that's out there. You
Yeah.
don't have this one little hometown mentality. You see so much. And I
Yeah.
think it changes your perception of the world.
I
Yeah.
think if people traveled more, they would get along better.
I think that's true. That is
Yes.
so true. Not so
Yeah.
territorial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
watching all of y'all's goings and comings, and you see so much. You talk to so many people, and it's like the great variety. That's what I'm all about.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's my love. Yeah.
right
It's
on.
so cool.
Are, are
Yeah.
you
You get to know people from all over, and then when you get to know them, you realize how much you are the same. At the same time, you can appreciate the difference,
Yes.
because we don't need to all be the same. That
Yeah.
would be
Thank
pretty
God we're not.
boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to ask, are you
agree.
still doing your
100% agree.
Facebook music? You were streaming. I remember whenever, I get a chance,
Yeah.
you were streaming like every single day, a new song, and you put the
Every
lyrics
day.
and a story
Yeah.
about it. I was like, holy cow, man, this
Yeah,
guy
I
is
did like
working it.
400 videos during the pandemic.
Jesus.
400. It was 414 at last count. But yeah, it kind of had to come to an end because live stuff started opening up, and
Right on.
that's a big demand. I loved it. I loved making the videos. It was the best way to practice. I mean, if you want to get better at playing guitar, record yourself. It's just, people say, no, I couldn't do that. But it's the very best way to improve. Yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but I'm glad you enjoyed that. 414 videos. My eyes were crossing by the time it was over.
Well, they're all up on YouTube for people to dig into it too.
Yes, some of them I put the public domain and the original stuff on there. I didn't want to put anybody else's stuff up there. I know people do that, but I just didn't want to. So yeah. Go to my Facebook page if you can just scroll through, and there's man, there's just a ton of
that is awesome though,
job.
because you were doing so many different kinds of songs. I'm like, okay, well, this dude is just not into just this.
Yeah.
No, then it'd be another
I
one.
love it
It'd be
all.
like, what? That's so cool. And then
I love it all.
how did you choose your songs for that? Because it's a lot of covers, and they were so like this variety, and you reminded me of songs that I forgot about, and I think that's
Awesome.
always like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
when you find those gems that you listen to 20 times a day, and then you're like, you've got to get over it and move to something new, and then you forget about it, and then it's like back in your life, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. It was really about going back, and it's like, because we had all this time to kill, and we were locked up, and it was just like, well, why not go back and revisit all these my favorite songs, and it was no longer what's the audience going to enjoy. It was, what do I love? How can I? It was the most selfish thing in the world, but it seemed people seemed to really love it, because if you didn't like today's song, well, you might have liked yesterday's song, or maybe you'll like tomorrow's song. It was all, it was many to pick from.
It's not selfish. That's when you do your best work.
Yeah, it was.
When you're 150% in it.
Yep, exactly. Here's where I lived. Every one of those songs meant something to me, to my heart. And music, you know how music is. Music is it's like your time code. It's you not only love the song, but all of a sudden you start getting these images of somebody you knew, or someplace you were, or the things that happened, both tragic and wonderful, and name it. It's how we remember life, I think. So.
It's true. It's
music.
Yeah, it
music
is our
and
history. It's our personal history. Yeah,
all of the arts tell the truth about the day, what's going on. That's our truth. And we've got some really good journalists out there that do really tell the truth. Believe it or not, everyone, it's true. There's real ones out there. And but same with the artists. So I think artists talk about the feeling of the people of what's going on now. Unless you're environmental, you may be talking about what's going on with the land, or and there's musicians doing that, and even with what you're doing with Chosen, you've got to feel for the people and you've got to feel for the land itself, which is so important. So I think music is huge. It's the truth.
Yeah,
and when true musicians just go pure, not like, oh, well, if I do this song because I do this, if I follow the formula,
the trends,
the marketing,
then you're not an artist anymore. And
exactly.
You've got to still do marketing, but
it's
your music has to be pure first.
Music first. I think I've always told people I don't make music to make money. I make money so I can keep making music.
Yes.
I have to fund my habit,
Yeah, it sucks. It's hard. I know we have to fund ourselves too. It just kind of happens, It's like, all right.
It's like,
but it all comes together because you're out there following your bliss. You're out there moving, and you obviously love to move. You obviously love to be traveling around, and that's most people I know, they say, I want to travel. So you're ahead of the game,
We're having a ball. We really are having a ball out there. And
so
I'm excited because now live music is coming back. I remember the beginning of the pandemic and everyone was doing the streaming, and I got cut off of Facebook for a while. I didn't do anything. I got hacked and like everything came down.
Bad girl.
And I have to start over. But I missed it because I wasn't connected to my music friends, and I was watching their stream and watching concerts out of school buses, out in the desert, to what you were doing. Everybody's doing something different. But it was like, oh God, I still just want the live thing. And I remember, Nancy, you and I were in Northwest Colorado last year around this time, and Grand Junction. We were photographing all this public art in Grand Junction, Colorado, and there was like a trio playing and very socially distant. And I was like, oh my God, it's like you haven't eaten for a month. Like suddenly there's this music and you're just like giddy, like you're like stupid giddy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And now that live music is open, like we can start visiting our musician friends that we've interviewed. We can actually go see them perform. And I'm like, dude, this is badass. We can get back to some excitement. So for you, that's got to be like, and you say you really do a lot of majority of solo shows. Tell people in the Florida, are you doing strictly Florida? Do you travel?
No, I'll travel. I have some stuff coming up, that's out of state. But right now, if you're listening and you're within, say you're within driving distance of Dunellen, Florida, I'll be doing something on the 18th. It's a Sunday. And if you're in Fort Myers, come August 7th, I'll be down there. But just come to briansmalley.com and my very limited schedule. It's not much yet, but it's getting there. But briansmalley.com will have my shows on there. And friend me on Facebook. That's a great way to stay in touch with me. I still can get some more friends. So.
And it's Smalley, not Smelly.
Yeah, Smalley. Yay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No,
Kenny he's known as the Wolf Man. He was good. He still is. He's performing up somewhere in Colorado. I don't know where, but I haven't seen him in years. But we used to jam together. I was like, are they related? As soon as I connected with them, like, are you guys related?
You could be. There's not a whole terrible lot of Smalleys in the world, but hey,
Smelly and Smalleys.
Probably a good thing.
You never know.
You say potato, I say potato. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us, and we're going to close with the Mango song. I call it the Mango. You talk about mango. This is such a cool song too, and it's so tell everybody a little bit about it, but don't give it away.
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the main characters is a fella named Caleb Greer, and he let's just, so we don't let the cat out of the box, so to speak. He's living a kind of a secret life, or he did anyway, back in the 1970s when we got it kind of lucky now in the 21st century, where people are a little more permissive than they used to be and not so morally judgmental. But back in the 1970s in Belgrade, Florida, it was certainly not the case. And so he had a relationship with someone that was deemed a criminal relationship. And so in this song, he's telling a little bit about his love, the person that he loved in his life. And he talked about Mango. Mango was his name. So yeah, that's what the song is. Yeah.
And 3 or 4 days a week we started with that, and Nancy and I love that because she's talking to her whiskey.
Is that you or the whiskey talking?
Yeah, I know.
It's me talking to the whiskey.
No, if it's good, it was me. If it's bad, it was the whiskey.
Yeah, I know. That was talking back. No,
That's
the
right.
lyrics are really great. Kudos to Chosen. You've really done something fantastic and awesome that will live on and on and on. So I know people are going to appreciate it. I know our audience will as well. We want to thank, before we go, we're going to thank the National Parks Arts Foundation for sponsoring today's show. We love them. We air every first Friday. We get to interview artists and residents. And the National Parks Arts Foundation, what they do is they create these amazing opportunities for artists to be in a park for a full month, to be an artist in residence. So musicians, painters, poets, filmmakers, writers, whatever you do, you can apply to be an artist in residence. And if you don't make it the first round, try again. I mean, Brian needs to do this. I was telling him even before we started recording, he must do it. I mean, there's places like Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and Brian, they have a recording studio in the house. It's a big house overlooking the ocean. Okay, I'm just saying. There's places up in northern New Mexico in Chaco Canyon where the ancient peoples had there's ceremonial sites. There's places like Fort Union in northern New Mexico, Dry Tortugas, Death Valley, which turned 130 degrees the other day.
I might leave that one for a
won't be
little
my
later.
first choice, but
Hey, that's it. It's Furnace Creek for a reason, right? So they've at Dry Tortugas National Park, you get to stay on Loggerhead Key for a full month, completely off grid. And they just did one for Southern Florida artists and residents. And I think as this airs, this is probably too late, but only for that, where you get to go, you have to take like the FEMA courses and everything to be there. And you have to take your wife with you, because you have to have 2 people on the island, because you're so remote and off grid. No Facebooking, because it doesn't exist, but you're going to hang out with turtles, and you get your own palm trees and
magnificent frigate birds. Yes, exactly.
Yes. I mean, it's
cool.
You said frigate and Muck City all in the same show. So on that note, we did good today. We did good. We've had some internet issues, and I want to thank everyone for listening and carrying on as we went through that. Just a little bit of stormy weather here in Florida, but Elsa didn't land on us, so that's good. You were safe through Elsa, right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we did all right.
Good.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The only Elsa Nancy knows is a lion. So that's it.
It's cool.
All right. Everyone keep up with us at bigblendradio.com, and then Brian Smalley. No, it's Smalley.
There it is.
Yeah.
Psych. BrianSmalley.com, and also nationalparksartsfoundation.org. Here it is. Enjoy. This it is. You talk about mango. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
The way Jeb told it, Caleb told it pretty much the same. Pretty much verse for verse, but he said a lot of stuff afterwards. Caleb had a cracked voice, it really ought to hurt him talk. To hurt him was easy, he'd be coughing and wheezing. He'd talk about mango, he'd talk about the boy he loves, he'd talk about the places they go. Up a Camino. He talk about mango. He talk about the boy he loved. Listen to the radio. Mango's a Camino, he said. Mango had a girlfriend, at least he pretended he did. Pretending is what you do. Played Central High School. He said her name was Lordy, some nappy-headed Haitian girl, heading to the ghetto. Drop a loot and forget it. Oh, talk about Mango. He talk about the boy he loved. Talk about the place that they go. Mango's at the Camino. He talk about Mango. He talk about the boy he loved. He listen to the radio. Mango's at the Camino. Mango came from Cuba. Said he lived in Miami. Said he lived in New Orleans. He's a kid I've never seen. Mango said his father would kill them both if he caught them. Thought he made other than a girl. Mango was his whole world. He light up another. He talked through smoke rings, smoking his tea off 7. Said his idea of heaven was walking on the levee. Listen to the floodgate groan, floodgate that held back the brown water that could drown that town. He talk about Mango. He talk about the boy he loved. Talk about the place that they go. Mango's a Camino. He talk about Mango. He talk about the love he lost. Talk about baby.